Well, the G7 is not 7, that we know, because more than 7 other countries have been invited under the outreach program of the G7. But that is not the problem. The greater problem, the real problem is that this is not quite a group at all, certainly not anymore. The G7 is not preparing any joint statement to be released at the end of the meeting for the simple reason that the group is not joined. President Trump has made sure of that single-handedly, and nobody's forgetting that Trump had withdrawn his support for the joint G7 statement in 2018, and now he is more, well, Trump. Across the differences, there is still a common 3-point official agenda that Canada has set for the leaders to talk around, if not agree on. The 3-point agenda lists, for a start, peace and security as top priority alongside foreign interference and transnational crime. There could be thorny discussions around all of this, and it would bring in the 2 wars underway for a start and more. The second item is critical mineral supply chains and economic growth through artificial intelligence. Again, friction here. We've seen that develop between the US and China, and the US is not the only country in need of critical materials here. Finally, the discussions as the third point are intended to look at private investment for stronger infrastructure and business success through dynamic markets. Again, very tricky areas. Trump has his views on what makes a dynamic market that almost nobody else shares. Trump and consensus just don't seem to go together. Signs, in fact, of aggressive differences within the group have emerged even before the G7 could formally get going. French President Macron, we saw, visited Greenland en route to the G7 in a show of support to that country, which was really more, in its flip side, a show of opposition to Trump and his plans for Greenland. Macron has been assertive already in confronting Trump on his Ukraine policy of withdrawing a level of support for Ukraine against Russia. And Trump then made his point, among the many he makes, by way of a nearly hour-long call with President Putin on Saturday, the eve of the summit. Through that call, the Ukraine war was not top priority for Trump. The top priority was the Middle East war, and the Ukraine issue came up only later through that conversation, according to the readout of that call. The European G7 leaders, Britain, France, Germany and Italy, will certainly want Trump to come around to their view on the Ukraine war. But will Trump budge? Anything is possible with Trump. The great friction between the US and Canada has further splintered the G7, quite apart from what it has meant for relations between the two, for trade and political relations, of course. Something productive may yet come out of the G7 through talks between President Trump and Prime Minister Carney, between Trump and President Zelensky, between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Carney. And the best possible joint outcome could be some form of agreement that Trump endorses on ending the Middle East war. But that would take Trump, not the G7. The G7 starts and ends very little.
Make informed decisions with comprehensive analysis on the go.
Strengthen your portfolio with real-time market updates on the go. Create effective strategies with insightful expert opinions on the go.
Grow on the go with CNBC-TV18, now streaming live 24/7 on YouTube.
Hey, thank you for watching this on CNBC TV18. Hope you liked it. For more such interesting news and updates, follow CNBC TV18 on all the social media platforms.